Hey everybody, Meteorologist Mike Slifer here in the First Alert Forecast Center, and we have another First Alert Weather Extra for you. We will talk a bit about some smoke, which has been a topic of conversation this week. We'll talk about a great stretch of weather heading into the weekend and the return of some heat, perhaps even another First Alert Weather Day. There is another First Alert Weather Day. It's next week. We'll have all the details on that coming up here on this First Alert Weather Extra, our deep dive into the forecast. Air quality index right now across the state, good, if not moderate. Huge improvements even over what we saw earlier today, and that's the case across the entire, basically all of New England, I should say. Not the entire Northeast, though, because air quality is actually degraded in parts of Pennsylvania and western New York. But this is what we expected with that shift in wind direction. We have high pressure dropping out of Canada right now, and that's bringing this persistent easterly wind. It's also bringing some light showers to parts of Long Island, northern Jersey. We are not seeing any of those here in Connecticut. So winds across the state, calm or light easterly, but it's that wind direction that really makes a huge difference here, because as you see, First Alert Futurecast shows all the surface level smoke getting pushed out. We could see a thin haze at times again tomorrow, and there might even be a couple of instances where some of that smoke makes it to the ground, but all things considered, a big improvement over where we've been. The air quality index forecast for tomorrow is moderate, but just to our east in Rhode Island, it's actually good. So what we'll likely see tomorrow is a mix of good and moderate air quality across the state. It's not perfect. We'd like to see good everywhere, of course, but this is much better than what we dealt with earlier this week and even in parts of Connecticut earlier today. So in other words, it's a step in the right direction. We'll take you through our iCams here. Very different looking than what we've seen the last couple of nights on our First Alert Weather Extra. We're looking live right now in Rocky Hill, looking north to the Hartford skyline. And we still see a bit of a gray, smoky look to the sky, but we can actually see the Hartford skyline now, and that's because the smoke has cleared. That near surface smoke has cleared out a bit. We'll show you what it looks like live in Hartford right now. All things are looking pretty good. Really not much to talk about here. It's dry. We can see the buildings. We can see in the distance. So all of the issues that we've dealt with earlier are improved. We're looking live right now in Torrington. That's the Naugatuck River in the center of your screen. And it's quiet in northwestern Connecticut. And we have better visibility than what we saw earlier today, too. We'll take you live now to Waterbury, overlooking the green. 66 degrees. This is a live look from atop the Mattituck Museum, and we'll take you now to Windsor Lock. So at Bradley, specifically, visibility not quite as good, perhaps, as other places, because there is still a little bit of smoke on the ground. 72 right now at Bradley International. Dry and not too smoky in New London, and we'll finish with a live look at our iCam in New Haven, overlooking the Pearl Harbor Memorial Bridge. Great visibility of I-91 and I-95. So all things considered, big improvements. We'll show you where the showers are right now. Earlier this evening, we were looking at some thunderstorms that were in the Berkshires and the Green Mountains, but those left us alone, which is what we expected. We expected things here to stay dry. And south of us, we've kept an eye on some of those showers. They're pretty light, impacting the New York City metro area. But see that sharp cutoff in the clouds near Scranton? Well, that's the end of the moisture. And once all of that gets moved on out, which will happen overnight, we will not see any chance for showers. Even overnight, we're expecting things to stay dry. On First Alert Futurecast here, we do keep the clouds around, but not just the clouds. We keep the smoke around, or pardon me, not just the clouds. We keep the mugginess around, too. The smoke is on its way out. But all of that starts to change tomorrow. We're starting to see some indications that the mostly cloudy skies will break up fairly quickly, leading to much brighter conditions in the afternoon. And there could be a couple of pop-up showers to our northwest again tomorrow, but we are expecting things across Connecticut to stay dry. Temperatures tomorrow likely below average, which has been the theme so far this month. Every single day has been at or below average for the Hartford area, and it's been fairly dry. We picked up just under a quarter of an inch of rain on the 1st, and we have not had any rain since. And we're really not looking at much of a chance for rain until maybe the middle of next week. So certainly a long dry stretch unfolding here. When it comes to rainfall overall, for the month, we're down almost 3/4 of an inch already. For meteorological summer, which ends when this month ends, it started on June 1st, we're still a little bit high. And part of this is being carried by how wet July was, 8th wettest specifically for the Hartford area. Not the case along the shoreline, though. It's been dry along the shoreline. In fact, the shoreline could really use a little bit of rain. for the year. If we go back to the start of 2025, we certainly have quite the surplus. So thankfully, all things considered, we're not in as bad of shape as we could be if we were entering a dry stretch like this, since we have had some rain, just not maybe as evenly spread as we would typically see. High temperatures today on either side of 80 degrees, which is about what we expected. Cooler out there thanks to the easterly wind and the cloud cover. Northwestern Connecticut already in the mid-60s, otherwise upper 60s and low to mid-70s. Actually, quite a bit of a spread on this map here, from 65 in Salisbury to 73 in Hartford, 74 in Bridgeport, 70 in Groton, 69 in Putnam. This is about where we would be, maybe a little bit cooler than where we would be. Temperatures tonight will settle at seasonable levels. It was a decent day to be outdoors. And Steve Franklin captured this picture of a spicebush swallowtail butterfly on the tiger lilies. This was captured in South Glastonbury. What a beautiful butterfly there. A lot of color there in the wings, a lot of blue, a lot of orange, and it looks great popping against the orange of the tiger lilies. Dew points right now in the 60s, but we are starting to see some 50s in northeastern Connecticut. So we're right on the cusp of pleasant and muggy. We'll say the low range for muggy, the low end of the muggy range. And we do expect the mugginess to last perhaps into the start of the day tomorrow, with some big improvements on the way after that. So tonight, upper 50s, low 60s inland, mid 60s along the shoreline. That's about average for this time of year, pretty seasonable. Mostly cloudy skies out there. Tomorrow, we see the cloud cover break up, pushing temperatures to near 80 inland. And along the shoreline, we will see highs between about 75 and 80. We'll take it town by town to show you that. Mid and upper 70s in northwestern Connecticut, some lower 80s through the greater Hartford area. Windsor and Glastonbury forecast to reach around 82 degrees. And we'll see highs in the upper 70s and low 80s in northeastern Connecticut, too. Onshore wind keeping Mystic, Uncasville, Niantic in the mid-70s. But let's take you inland. Jewett City, Salem, 80. Portland, Haddam, Durham, low 80s. Wallingford, low 80s. And in the Naugatuck Valley from Naugatuck, Ansonia to Milford, temps will be in the upper 70s. If your plan's taken to the beach tomorrow, given we see increasing sunshine, the UV index will be high again. High tide tomorrow is going to be in the mid to late morning. So maybe a good idea to get out there, get in the water a little bit, and then you can spend some time in the sun. It won't be particularly hot, per se, with temps in the mid and upper 70s and low humidity, but a nice day to spend some time along the shoreline. High pressure dropping out of Canada, slowly moving out over the Gulf of Maine is what keeps us so dry and bright tomorrow into Friday. Friday looking like a spectacular day of weather across Connecticut. Look at these temperatures from the 60s in the morning into the low 80s in the afternoon. Highs will be between about 80 and 85 degrees. So even then, near if not slightly below normal. But look at the dew points in the pleasant range for humidity tomorrow and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. On Monday is when we start to see that slow spike, and that's going to help to ultimately make things feel a bit hotter outside too. When it comes to notable dates for the month of August, on Friday, that's 2 days from right now, it's our final 8 p.m. sunset of the year. The sun sets tomorrow at 8:01. On August 16th, 10 days from today, a week and a half from today, the sunrise is 6 a.m., back in the 6 o'clock hour, sets at 7:49. And on September 15th, a little over a month, sunset is 7 p.m. So we really start to lose daylight fairly rapidly through the month of September and October, and then the rate at which we're losing daylight slows down November, and especially as we approach the solstice in December. First Alert 7-day forecast showing highs in the low 80s tomorrow. We'll be in the 50s overnight, low to mid 80s Friday, 50s overnight, mid 80s on Saturday, 60s overnight. Back to 90 on Sunday, 91 Monday, 94 Tuesday. Our First Alert weather day as heat index values peak between 95 and 100. It'll be muggy Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and maybe that'll feel some storms on Wednesday. And even Wednesday, we still think we could hit 90 degrees. Shoreline highs go from the low 80s to the upper 80s, and then we're back in the low 90s, even along the shoreline on Monday and Tuesday next week. We'll take you to Wednesday. Models in better agreement now that perhaps we could see some activity Wednesday. A little word of caution here is that so far this week, every day when we're looking a week out, there's a risk for showers. But when we get a bit closer in time, that goes away. So we'll have to see exactly what happens. Eventually, we, of course, will see some activity. Here's Dexter moving away and out to sea, the area of the disturbance that the National Hurricane Center was watching. Off the coast of the Carolinas, low chance of becoming named as it moves to the northeast and away from the tropics. And then we have a tropical wave off of Africa, which has a medium chance of becoming named. Next name on the list is Aaron. After that, Fernand and Gabrielle. So we'll be the first to alert you should anything form. In other news, on the 8 to 14 day outlook here, which brings us from the 14th through the 20th of the month, getting us basically through the middle of August, these deep shades of red indicate the higher likelihood that temperatures remain above average. So we're not done with the heat. Interestingly, no big signals for precip, not drier or wetter than average. So we'll have to see how things work themselves out. In our part of the country, we need 3 days or longer in a row at or above 90 in order to have a heat wave, and we are forecasting our 4th heat wave of 2025 starting on Sunday, lasting into the start of next week. Our coverage will continue on smoke and eventually the return of the heat and humidity on the wax at 10 and Channel 3 tonight at 11. Scott Gagliardi will have you covered tomorrow morning. Hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you back here for another First Alert Weather Extra at 8 a.m. and then again tomorrow night at 9:30.